I'm going to spend an hour with all gems, and then I'll spend another hour with any percent. And that should be fun. And all gems is a very sprawling category. There's a lot that goes on here, and in many different places for movement, tech, and everything else in between. It's gonna feel like a lot at first, especially with these first two worlds, and it'll probably continue feeling like a lot. And I'll do my best to explain kind of what's going on here from world to world. Let's get rock and rolling, shall we? 3, 2, 1, go. You can see kind of here. We have a few rivers to cross. And this is where we start to get through some minor changes here. Is that in these particular sections here, we have a little bit of leeway to get all the gems in this particular section here. And that's going to be one of the significant themes of this category, is that unlike any percent where you really have to hit everything to the letter, this category has actually got quite a bit of room for error. You can get away with quite a bit here. You'll see some examples of it on later worlds. These first two are fairly straightforward. And while I'm going through the auto-scroller, I can kind of get a chance to discuss, notice how the soundtrack is moving in 4/4. We got the 4/4 meter here. Use it as a bit of a template for how fast I can go reasonably without, ghosting any inputs, without missing any, so. That was a bit close, but I still made it work. Like I said before, you could go as fast as the task goes and hit 16th notes on this, but... Oh, also, one fact, yeah, that tile, you can lock on water on it for some reason. No clue why. You just can. Like I said before, the task can move at like 16th notes without misinputting, or just like missing inputs. But in a category, when you're a human being, it makes so much more sense to be able to meet the same routes as a task does, with slightly less. And it's kind of what we're aiming for. As you can see, there's a lot of triplets. We are going through a significant amount of triplet patterns when we go through this entire, category, and any percent for that matter. So you'll notice a combination of those two. I'm going to kind of take my time through here because there's really only so much that can be done about that. We kind of just have to let the cars pass through. I wish there were faster cycles for this level, but there's only so much can be done here. So we're going to purposefully grab this one up, as there is a gem waiting underneath it. So it's kind of inconsequential to lose a life there, so long as we're, on cycle. And actually, this one has a very generous cycle. You could make a few mistakes and still be okay. And as you can see, I'm doing alright. I've got the most optimal, patterns. I have not wasted any lives outside of the one that I had to grab to also grab the same gem that's, at the bottom too. So that was one example. Good exit. Very nice. That was really efficient. So we're gonna grab these, and then we're gonna grab the other one. We have a full timer back here, and I did want to mention that's the most satisfying sound effect in the entire game. Love it so much. One of the most satisfying sound effects that we have in this entire game here. Pretty good cycle there. This is the same as any percent. No matter what category you're in for any percent or this one, you always have to get all the gems to collect the baby frog. kind of dropped the ball a little bit there. That's fine, that's fine. We've had some misfortune here and there and everywhere. I wouldn't worry too much about it, as it's only a minor time loss, and we have a generous amount of time saved from the first world. I fought that a little close. Okay, we're fine. This is the beginning of the Shadow Tiles, or as I like to call it, Simon Says. As long as you follow what the tiles show, you're fine. There's really no risk to it, for the most part. Although I say that now, but I have also had some moments where I've done some really stupid things. Oh, hey, speaking of stupid things, that's one of them. Let's see, will I miss the cycle here? No, actually we're fine. I think we're fine. We maybe missed one cycle, but it looks okay. That life loss was actually not consequential. At least as far as I'm aware. Yeah, no, it wasn't. So yeah, that's a big part of it, all gems. The category is pretty generous as far as, like, you know, getting through everything without, you know, losing too much time. There's a generous amount of time to, kind of get through everything. This is kind of one of the first deviations. You have to grab all these gems on each of the platforms that are located here. And that was handled very solidly. We're going on to a very, frankly, scary level. This level is scary because there's plenty of ways to die on here. The opening is one of them. It's got one of the least generous spaces to get through. That is what I'm talking about, of course. We have to kind of ride two gators. This is one of them. And then this is the second one. Kind of have to think that through carefully. Alright. That was way closer than I made it look. In fact, I probably shouldn't have lived through that. I made it look way easier than it actually is. And this is the last section of Simon Says here, part 3. We cannot forget about this section here, otherwise we lose about 15 seconds. Same goes for this area. And this is the last one. This one's fairly lenient. And we got through just fine. We're going to get into one of the first difficult cycles here, called the reverse conveyor belt. You'll see why very soon, in about 5 seconds. And I hit it. This used to be one of the hardest strats for me to hit about 3 years ago. When I was first learning it, I had about a 50-50 success rate. That's jumped up to about 80, I'd say. And we're still doing pretty great. And we're getting to one of my favorite worlds in both categories, but it can also be one of the most unpredictable worlds, as you'll see very soon. Ooh, hey, I jumped the gun. That's fine. Got the last possible entrance that I could make here, and I am gonna lose a little bit of time, which is okay, because there's still plenty of time to save on this next world. Unfortunately, the fish are not giving me the greatest RNG right now, and I had the right idea on the first attempt through. You're gonna see a lot of these ice worlds are really just, go fast. Wait on the fish there. We will have a lot of fish waiting on some of these particular areas. that was pretty standard wait time. A little late, but certainly not as bad as it could have been. And now this one, I like to call it YOLO Level 3. You'll see why very soon. We have a lot of fish kind of just trying to, you know, kill off our run at every point. This run has not been a good example of that yet. Usually they kind of just, like, cut me off at the last possible second, kind of like that one. And it was taking its time to really exit. Okay. Bit close there. And I've seen worse luck with those ones. That one wasn't even bad. It just had a little bit of trouble, navigating through on that last one. I don't know what the deal with that was. Sometimes I just miss inputs. And, unfortunately, the misinputs haven't really, like, stacked up too terribly yet, but mistakes can be, you know, can be very easily multiplied on this sort of game. And we're doing fine so far. This one, however, we have to go really, really fast. We have to hightail it for all these gems to get an on-time cycle, as I like to call it. There it is. Bit of back and forth here. Kind of like bumper cars. And we'll just kind of be waiting it out. Fish RNG was not so kind to me this time, so I lost about a second of time there, which is fine. This next level is very intimidating. You'll see there's just a lot of moving objects pretty much everywhere, you know, scattered throughout. Everything will seem very closely bunched together, as you can see. So far we're doing okay, but this is where everything kind of gets really scary. We like to call this the pits of death, because it sucks, and I don't like it. And I'm gonna have to wait this one out, I think. Better to wait than to be sorry in this instance. Alright. Okay. Better off just kind of waiting on that one. I cut it a little close with those bad patterns. They can catch you on the diagonals. Most of the time they don't. And there's a very useful warp that we use to reposition ourselves back here. And it's going to be a pretty quick dirge through this level. Very nice. And solid. Solid overall. This is where the fun really begins. And unfortunately, I am engaging in some of the pain of it. So we did lose a little time here. Hopefully it's not too significant. Oh, it is starting to become significant. Okay, I'm not making the same mistake as last time. Sometimes you can catch those cycles just barely. And I was not able to do so in that instance. So that went alright. That went alright. Again, like every other level, you have to be ready. The fireball cycles will try to really seriously kill you in every scenario you can possibly think of. And we're gonna kind of wait that one out, because if you try to jump up too fast, it will just kind of catch you at the tail end. So we don't want to do that. And we want to very quickly catch this cycle, because we're already, you know, unable to get to that rig faster. It's just kind of there for show in the instance of an all gems category. So we have to grab the gems here. We have to wait out for this third one here, which will allow us to board onto this. Very nice. Able to get an early cycle here. Sometimes you just get caught in the side, and it's can just be deeply unfortunate. Oh, hey. Okay, so we're doing alright here. And I caught the fast cycle too, so that went very nicely. Fast cycle is when you get into the corner before the fireball can hit you, and it's barely possible in any percent. Well, with the patterns that we hit on all gems, it's slightly easier. Not free by any means, but it is slightly easier. So, you got to see an example of that. And this level is generally very difficult in both categories. I'm just taking kind of a pretty safe marathon, like, iteration of it. You'll see very quickly why. You kind of have to just, you know, make sure that you're prepared for everything that is generally thrown at you, and that can be barely caught in time, but we're not going to go for it. We're going to play it safe in that instance. So this level here is what do we like to call a small rest, so long as you don't make any major mistakes. Now, that being said, we say major mistakes, but it can be literally anything, you know? And so that seems like very little here. So I actually caught the fast cycle there. So, with that, we were able to quickly make our way here. And we should be able to... No. Not going to be able to catch that one in time, unfortunately. So we kind of have to just play it safe. There is a faster cycle I could achieve here, but you're not going to see it from me today, at least. I'm going to kind of just be on the straight and narrow for this particular set of levels. Because you can underestimate how much can go wrong once you start losing any lives here. So, we take that one pretty easy. We gotta quickly make it way through the first group. I don't normally wait that out, but I decided to. And this will be a backup strat. Okay, so I kind of paid for that one dearly. Small time loss. It can be a little difficult. There's like a really, really fast setup where you grab the gem and go right into the hole. That's diagonal from it, I believe. So this level here, get a little bit of time to rest when you get to this timer. And you get to it pretty early. But once this spider passes, it's go time. And you're going to see some very quick movements here. And I got a perfect cycle. That's about as good as we can ask for. And, oh, we cut it out as close as you possibly could. That was very good. Unlike, previous runs, in any percent, all gems final level is a nightmare. It is brutal. You can have a world record pace, and then it's just instantly erased. Yeah, that's a perfect example, actually. So the game actually had mercy on me and gave me that gave me halfway on that, so, like, you can just be, like, in good shape for part of the run, and then be completely not in good shape. So, because of where we're at, we kind of have to wait out these mine carts, so I'm gonna grab a whole bunch of these gems right here, right now. Alright, and then I've learned it's just easier to grab the diagonals. There are the other ones. We have so many lives that I'm no longer worried about game overs. In the early game, you'd have to be, but because we're this far, we really don't have to worry about it. I'm gone for early cycle before. That was kind of a bit of a habitual, for me. Sometimes I like to go for IO strats, and I managed to hit it inexplicably. So now I'm just kind of, a bit thrown off, unfortunately. So that did lose me some time. This is a level where it is very normal to just, you know, lose 3-4 lives if you're, like, not paying attention to what's going on. Oh, and I barely got lucky there. So you can see how wonky these, gem placements are. They aren't exactly, friendly in any, you know, aspect. Like, in any sense of the world. They are very unforgiving. And we got through that halfway decently. Now, if I hit a fast cycle on a marathon, I will be shocked. Because generally, I'm just going to play it super safe, not going for anything stupid. And who knows, maybe my finger... It'll be one of those strats where I say, don't go for it. But then I go for it, and it's like, well, okay. And then I, like, wonder to myself, was it, like, one of those things that I was kind of freaking over? Because right at the moment, it seems okay. So this level's got a pretty brutal section of minecart placements. As a casual, this is one of the single worst experiences of your life, generally. I say that, but, like, it's only as bad as you make it for yourself. So I'm going to very carefully wait this out. Yeah, and I got a very friendly cycle here. Though I very easily could have, very easily died. We are on the very last level. We're gonna just kind of, quickly make our way up. The first half is, you know, highlighted by this, quick ascent up, and then we have to do really what Worlds 2 and 3 prepared us for, which is tons of reverse conveyor belt movements. And you'll see why it is awful very soon. It is very normal for me, or just any runner, to, you know, choke a world record pace because the conveyor cycles are just genuinely awful. Alright, we got 2 more conveyor belts left to go. That's one of them. And we're gonna kind of just patiently wait this one out. Time is gonna be when I get this last congratulations screen. And we just got another world record. 22:28 is the final time. It's pretty impressive how quickly I was able to get my hands on that. That, like, was just 2 attempts after the first one? I think that might have been the very first attempt of the day, actually. I think it was the first attempt of the day. Well, that's picture-worthy, I guess. That is most definitely picture-worthy. Let's see if I can, let's see if I can get this one on print screen. Let's see. Did it work? Okay. Alright, well, that was quick. Did not expect it to take that long. A world record, no less. That's a true shocker. What can I say? What is there left to say? And I do believe it is time to start pursuing any percent now, because I got that so quickly. What is there left? It's any percent time. All right, well, yeah, that did not take long. It's time to do some sheer attempts in any percent, and I'll just kind of practice them both one at a time. Oh, hey, that's, I don't like that. I want my ears to switch. I want the ears.